Yo, what's up guys, it's Nick and welcome back to GTA Online. Now, before I start this video, I have a couple things to say. First of all, for this video, I will be wearing this outfit suggested to me by Ralph B. If you want to wear this outfit, Ralph made a detailed comment on how to make it here. Thank you Ralph for the suggestion, and now to my final announcement. Everyone, I have a Discord server now. If you guys ever wanted to talk to me, play games with me, or just interact with me or my community, head on over to the Discord. I will leave the link to it in the description, so make sure you go check it out. And who knows, if you join, you might get a chance to be in one of my videos. But with that long ass intro, let's get into the video. So for the longest time in GTA, Barnabas and I together have seen some horrendous things in the city of Los Santos. Things like low levels getting absolutely obliterated by tryhards and KD warriors. This saddens my soul to see, and it's up to me and Barnabas to stop this kind of abuse. No longer can I just sit around watching these poor new players with their pistols and their starting money of 10k getting exploded by homing missiles and getting their heads blown off by marksman rifles. So I have to take up a new profession, one of many I have taken in the Clorox saga. Today, I will be a professional bodyguard. So I obviously can't start my first day on the job, dick in hands with no clients, so I asked the people. Luckily, after my offer, the Game Master 420 messaged me saying that he wanted me to be his bodyguard. I mean, I obviously accepted and was quickly on my way, but something made me nervous. I started to get the cold sweats. With a name like this, how would I protect him? What could I possibly do to protect him against? He already seems like the ultimate Chad, but despite my reluctance, I took up the job and went to the Game Master. Once I got to the location he was at, Los Santos Customs, I greeted him and confirmed his request. He then screamed "hey" at me, which I won't lie made me tinkle just a little. This guy scared me. I immediately began guarding him, noticing a Zentorno getting a little too close and personal with my client, and I told him sternly to step away. He obeyed, and when I continued to go about my business, the guy came back running out of his car and ran to Game Master again, but this time he pulled a switchblade out. I pointed my gun at him, slowly stepping towards him. This guy did not mean well to me or my client. As he stepped away, Game Master screamed at me again, and I pissed a little more. He said, "Ayat, how much?" So I'm assuming he wasn't the most literate guy out there, but that's okay. I told him 90 mil an hour, the reasonable pricing. He then notified me that this was too much, and I decided to cave and give him the Black Friday deal of $40 an hour. Apparently, he doesn't exactly understand the idea of a joke, and he asked me how to give money. I quickly diffused the rapidly escalating situation by telling him the money was deposited to my account. I then followed him around as he continued his shenanigans. He got in this guy's car, kind of just chilling in the passenger seat, and I noticed the guy took a gun out, aiming it at my client. I was ready to mow him down, but out of nowhere, Keanu Wick comes in with the brutal slaughter as Game Master calmly watches the man die. I was starting to feel like this guy was a psychopath. Also, I have realized that Keanu is now a bodyguard of Game Master, so it's a two-man job. The guy complained to us about how that was his car, and Keanu basically told him to go fuck himself. I told him and the whole lobby that Keanu does not give two shits and that he will shoot on sight. I then asked my client if he wanted to drive one of my cars, and he blew up someone else's nonchalantly. Like I previously said, this guy is fucking psycho and is not to be messed with. It feels like I'm protecting James Bond or something, it's just not necessary. Anyways, he accepted the ride and I got out my Sultan RS. He asked me where we were going and I told him that he is the boss, so he chooses. Since he was driving the car, GTA likes to do special things with people in the passenger seat. Basically, it wasn't an actual driving experience, but rather a game of Portal, where I just teleported around and got nauseous. He told me we were going to Sandy Shores to do races with people, and I got comfortable. This would be a long, headache-inducing car ride. Not really, we were there in under 2 minutes. He then told me to get my fastest car out, and I was beginning to feel like this wasn't a bodyguard job anymore, but rather just a friendship. Who knows though, maybe that's all this guy needed, just a friend. Anyways, I got out my scramjet and boosted it down the runway. I then gave him access to the wheel, and he screamed screamed to the sky, races at Sandy Airfield, which obviously elicited no response. What a strange man he is. Once again though, I shrugged it off and asked him if he would like to tour the city in a gold-plated jet. Now you might be wondering, Nick, how did you get all of this cool shit all of a sudden? Well, you see, that's classified, motherfucker, and if you ever bring up a stupid question like that again, you're gonna get bombed by my bambushka. Anyways, he accepted my offer and I quickly called the vehicle in. Game Master then got inside and we began our tour. But as we were a few seconds into our tour, Game Master seemed to have a sudden hallucination because he jumped out of the plane trying to fly. I started to panic and turn around and my heart was pumping faster by the second. What happened and why did he do that were just some of the million questions that floated in my head at the moment. But once I circled back, he once again acted like just as if nothing happened. I made an emergency landing and ran towards him quickly, but he simply said, "Wrong button, thanks for parachute." Like, Jesus man, you could have actually died. I obviously didn't say that to him out loud though, because I like having money. I did not want to get fired. Anyways, I stole a car and picked him up and asked him if he was okay. He proceeded to just keep staring forward. I don't even want to be around this guy anymore, to be honest. He freaks me out. I calm myself down though, and Game Master asked me to tour him around the city in a Ferrari. Now, I actually don't know real life cars at all, so I didn't really know which in-game cars were Ferraris, and to be honest, I don't really care. So I got out my Italian GTB, but when I was going to get it out, something horrifying happened. My client was killed. After watching my client get cold-bloodedly murdered, I turned to see the killer. It was Keanu. He had been plotting against Game Master the whole time. So when I realized what had happened, I started to walk towards him casually, which terrified the man. He slowly backed away, pointing his gun at me. He then shot a few warning shots to scare me off, and then he finally killed me. He was surely shitting in his pants by now. I then said, "Keanu, why don't we have a chat?" I then shot at him as he fled the scene. What a sick freak. He then told me he didn't want to be a bodyguard to someone who abused him. This of course I did not care about and apologized to Game Master about the whole event. I then got out my GTB and drove him around the city. Eventually I asked him if he wanted to go anywhere in particular, and instead he suggested one of the most creative yet disturbing things I have seen in this game. He told me we should set bounties on people's heads and then kill them. I mean, that's pretty psychotic, and that's coming from me. Although it was demented, I liked the idea and we carried it out. So I set a bounty on this guy named Zinnick, and this later would turn out to be a huge mistake. I mean, it already was at the beginning. The guy was in a damn scramjet, so I had to set the playing field even, and I too got on my scramjet. But see, I can't exactly control this thing all that well. And after getting to him and somehow failing to kill him even though I had homing missiles, he was still on the run, and I was still terrible at using a scramjet. Zinnick then told us good luck, and I responded with, "Let the best man win." After Game Master was actively telling me in the chat where he was and where he was going, I still couldn't get to him. Now at this point, I could have gotten out a buzzard or an oppressor, but that's just too easy and almost cowardly. This would have to be a land kill, a kill with guns preferably. Game Master then told me he was the Yellow Skull, which didn't really help me, but I didn't say anything just in case of hurting his feelings, or worse, fired. But Zinnick responded with, "No, you. Shit, his defenses are too strong." I knew Game Master started to sweat after this absolute solid comeback. Now he really had to die. He even called him a lair, which was an impeccable response. Zinnick then ominously said to us, "The hunter becomes the hunted." This kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I asked him if he was coming to us. He said no and said Kyle will be with us soon. This confused me until someone with a laser came out of the fucking sky and nearly blew us up. This scared me and I said, what the shit. Once we were in a safe position, Zinnick said, "Meet my Kyle," which horrified me. This Kyle guy is apparently Zinnick's hound that destroys people. I mean, I didn't realize we were dealing with a dude that also had bodyguards. I then backtracked real hard on that whole killing thing and told Kyle that I think we could be very good friends. This is when a second person came to us with a Mark II, so this guy also had air support. I tried jumping out, but it failed horrendously. Zinnick let us know that this truly would not be easy. I then then found Kyle and murdered him in cold blood, which didn't feel good, I will be honest. After I was about to pull my car out though to escape, Kyle shot me from the abyss. I screamed to Game Master, who I had almost forgotten about. Kyle's back, code red. He then decided to put the pressure on me saying, destroy him. This fueled my morale and I was able to kill Kyle once more, but I didn't want to have to fight him. I knew this was just a diversion so Zinnick could escape Barnabas's wrath, and so I wanted to escape this battlefield going after my real target. I told this to Game Master and proceeded to just haul ass until I found a car or got out of range from Kyle's ruthless sniper. It made Barnabas's heart pump and he was breathing hard at this point. Usually Barnabas doesn't run this much. Anyways, like an action movie, I bust through the fence to save my friend. It turned out though we weren't much in danger, but the crash through the fence was still epic. He then shotgunned me in the face for no reason. He then said sorry, so I guess that was some kind of freak accident or a reaction or something that he just had to pull up his shotgun and kill me. Previously, before he killed me, he asked me to get 2 cars out and we could have a race. I told him it simply wasn't possible. You couldn't have 2 personal vehicles out at once. If I am somehow wrong about that, I do not care. Do not blow me up in the comments. He then told me to spawn the same car as him, which was starting to make me think that this guy thought I was some kind of modder. But I got distracted as I saw this guy, Frozy TV, doing a burnout. I stopped for a second looking at him and continued on. But as I was walking to Game Master, he just plopped a sticky bomb down and committed suicide. I then looked back at Frozy and he started to shoot flares at my direction. Like, a lot of flares. I then ran away as if I was talking to some girl in elementary school and wet myself. He then threw a bomb a little too close for comfort and I built up the courage to go back and threaten him. But I soon realized by the flares he was rapidly pumping out that he wasn't exactly a legitimate player. He then killed my client while I had my back turned, which doesn't really help my perfect 5-star rating. I walked over to his car, scared to challenge him, but I brought up my gun to him. After shooting him in the head with no response, I decided that any attempts to make him pay for his crimes were wasted efforts and that I should give up. He then pointed a gun at me and I told him we had a mutual agreement and we stared at each other. It was quite erotic to say the least. As we were staring though, my client shot at the man from afar. I told him he should just give up and that we should abandon the mission. We quickly drove away in a slight panic as the man was still staring at us in his car. He was even more frightening than Kyle, but as I thought of Kyle, I was starting to wonder if we were hunting our bounty anymore. I asked Game Master if we were and he didn't respond, just kind of stared at me. At this point, I informed Zinnick that he had won and the hunt was over. After that weight was lifted off our chest, he asked me to get an off-roader out. I got out my trusty trophy truck and let him drive. I then told him that this bad boy could climb Chiliad effortlessly, and now I realized that this had been a mistake. Sure, I wanted to climb Chiliad, but I'm not exactly sure he knows where that is. I mean, we took a journey. We went up like every other mountain other than Chiliad, and we went through the city, we passed our previous target, and we blew the truck up. Although, I did set a waypoint to the foot of the mountain eventually, and he got it. We slowly made our way to the monstrosity, and after some failed attempts, we made it. We looked on at the horizon at the setting sun before us, and I got a little emotional. Crying emoji, am I right? We then graciously drove the car off the bridge and flew down the mountain. And this moment really solidified our friendship, and we became real bros. We were about to go on another adventure when this guy named Venom said he hated us and crashed the server, so that's pretty much the end of that. Thank you for watching this video, everyone, and if you liked it or want to tell me anything, make sure to comment. But with that, make sure to join the new Discord. It's gonna be pretty fire, and I will see you guys in the next video.